See. Hi everyone. I'm playing around with the live. I may have overthought this. Let me see. This video has been removed by the uploader. Ugh. Figures. No, I don't want in there. Okay, I'm just trying to see here. Get this right. Okay, I'm just trying to see here. Get this right. Okay, I'm just trying to see here. Get this right. Okay, good. I know that, okay, I'm just trying to see here. Get this right. Now I can lower the audio on the other phone. I know this is working. So, to say this, I have not figured out how to know exactly how many people are on. So, if you are there, write a hello in the comments. Let me know what part of the world you're tuning in from. You can just say the country. If you're tuning in from the United States, you can just say the state as well, too. So for those of us in the United States, Merry Christmas Eve, everyone. If you are in Europe or Australia, I am saying Merry Christmas to you this holiday season. I hope that you're either having a lovely Christmas day or you're having a nice, relaxing Christmas Eve, as it is for us here on the East Coast. It is 7:30 p.m. Again, if you are listening to the live, if you could say a hi and what country you are from, that would be great, too. So welcome to Psychic Paranormal Wednesdays here on YouTube. I'm Eleni. I've been a practicing psychic medium astrologer for 30 years now. I perform live shows. I performed in Las Vegas last year, my live psychic and spirit message show. I've been filming a lot of paranormal videos because on one of my other social media pages, the interest, and I know I said this last week, the interest has been the paranormal. So thank you, whoever sent that heart. I appreciate that as well. And so I post a lot of ghost stories, but if there's other content, obviously too, I can talk about psychic. We talked about psychic dreams last night. How do you know when you're receiving a message from a loved one in dreams? Looking for signs, all of that too, because obviously too, I'm with you on the live and I'm seeing that people are signed into live. So I'm going to say good evening from wherever you're from. Merry Christmas Eve to those in the United States. Merry Christmas to those of you in Europe, Australia, New Zealand. Just let me know what part of the world you're tuning in from. Welcome to Psychic Paranormal Wednesdays. I'm Eleni. And as I said, the hello, Anja, I'll say Anja, could you share with me and us what part of the world you're tuning in from? I subbed. Are you saying you subscribe to my channel, Cool Candy Person? So that gives me an idea too, to understand where in the world you're tuning in from. You do? Okay, awesome. Thank you for subscribing. If you could just let me know what part of the world that you're tuning in from. You can say the country, if it's the United States, the state too, just so I get an idea, because my other social media live, everyone is in the United States. So we did have Croatia last week here. We had New Zealand too. We talk about anything psychic, anything paranormal. Let me see. There's a message here held for review. I'm not going to look at it because I'm assuming then it's not positive. Otherwise, it would be open to view. So let me start off with this, right? So it's Christmas Eve for those of us in the United States. As I said, Europe, it's Christmas Day. Australia, New Zealand, it's Christmas Day. So Merry Christmas Eve or Merry Christmas Day. But I'm going to start off with this. And I don't know how to do this, but on Christmas Eve, if you've heard in the Italian culture, they call this the Malarca. You're in Indonesia. Okay. Hello from Indonesia. What is the time in Indonesia? Because I don't have the Google available to just do a quick Google. If I can, you can tell me. Otherwise, I'll look at some point after the live for what time it is. I'm assuming it's for us Christmas Day. Is Islam? Yeah. Okay. So you can also, I know that there, in Arabic, U.S. Magazine had interviewed me about ghost stories in Washington, D.C. Unfortunately, the funding got pulled, so the story never made it to press, but I was interviewed about Washington, D.C. and what's prominent there in regards to, paranormal stories and occurrences. So tonight in the United States and in Italy, I don't know how to do this. I'm going to say this. We have this in Greece. The Italians call it Malarca. In Greece, and I'm just going to say it in Greek and then I'll explain it. We call it matiasmeni, which means like somebody's giving you the eyes. If you see I have an evil eye on, right? You see that? It's also, right, so one of the reasons why I have an evil eye, they paint boats in Malta with evil eyes on them because it's to cast off negative energy or somebody giving you the eyes. So tonight in Italian culture, now I'm talking Christmas Eve time in the United States. So it would have been last night in Italy because it's 1:40 a.m. in Italy right now. They're 6 hours ahead of us in New York. So Christmas Eve is the night in Italian culture to learn the Malarca, right? So tonight, and I'm going to say because we're here in New York. So tonight you would go into the kitchen if you had an aunt, a grandmother who knew how to do it. She would take a bowl of water and then she would place oil in the water. And all the circles in the water indicate how many people are giving you, they call this the evil eye, the eyes, sending you negative energy, right? So, if nobody's sending you negative energy, then there should be no circles. Let's say you have 10, you have 20, you have 5, you have 3, you get the idea. Merry Christmas, Austin. Where are you tuning in from? If you could just say what country, or if you're in the United States, what state. So what she would do is she would get a pair of kitchen scissors and as many circles, oil circles that are in the water, she cuts them to get rid of the evil eyes that are off of you. And you take this too, right? That saying. And again, in the Greek culture, we have this, as I pointed out, my evil eye. This is an evil eye from Greece. I want to say I do buy evil eyes when I am in Greece too. Because unfortunately, people do send other people negative energy, right? And I don't subscribe to curses. I don't partake in spells. I work with the white light myself, how I function and do what I do. But people do send you negative energy. That's a fact. And when you're open, and if you're not grounded or you're not paying attention, you can pick up that energy from that person too. Like sometimes they say somebody's giving you the eyes, like you look sleepy, droopy looking, aside from if you are sleepy or you haven't had enough sleep. So tonight, Christmas Eve, is the night that you would have to learn from someone who learned from someone else in the family, someone else that is learned how to do the Malarka and does the Malarka. They say that Christmas Eve tonight is the only night, it's once a year, that you can learn how to, with the water and then with the oil, and cut with the kitchen scissors of somebody. So like if you see someone and you think, right, you're looking at them. I had an aunt in Greece who's in the spirit world, my Aunt Katina. And I would come in, it was one time I was shopping, and she looked at me and she's like, oh, come here, come in the kitchen. Someone's, giving you many. Someone's giving you the eyes. I can see it looking at you, that you're looking drained and depleted. So she took me in the kitchen and she performed that, what I exactly explained to all of you, which is in the Italian, it's the Malarka. The Malarka, as I said again, in Greek, meaning like someone's put the eyes on you. That's a translation into English, because matia is eye in Greek, the mati. And this is what we call here, when you get a mati necklace, that's eye in Greek, E-Y-E, not I, the pronoun. So she took me in the kitchen, and did I feel, this is many years ago now, did I feel an energy difference? I did. And that's why, too, saying with spirituality, you want to be careful. You want to protect your energy. You hear this with energy vampires. Do you have a friend that after you talk to them, you're just drained, right? That's an energy vampire. That is somebody negative and draining. Because when somebody's talking to you, let's say they're trying to figure something out, you're not supposed to feel drained after talking to them, because there's a difference between talking about something you're trying to figure out in your life and somebody that dumps. That's a dumper, and then takes your energy to feel your energy field, which is positive, and then they go and they tap in and they zap your energy field to boost their energy, because their energy is not good, and then it leaves you exhausted and depleted. And I talked about this before, that also as well, when you're empathic, right? So an empath is, a lot of us are empaths, saying with this, when you're a sensitive person and you can feel other people's feelings and moods, that's an empath, right? So you really have to watch with being drained, because people can be very draining when you tune into their energy. And empaths have to work on boundaries. That is a big spiritual lesson for sensitive people. And I speak from experience, because when I was younger, my boundaries were not good that way. As I got older, I realized the necessity of boundaries. Your energy is precious. You really have to watch who you give it to. You have to watch who you're talking to, who you're surrounding yourself with. Right here, as we're in the holiday season, and saying, if you can explain outside of Christmas and Christmas Eve, what else, right? So Hanukkah too, I believe, is wrapping up. What other holiday you're celebrating, please let me know in the comments, because I'll integrate it as well. But you really, right, holidays you have to watch, because just because somebody's family doesn't mean it's good for you to be around them. That's saying, look, sometimes it's inevitable when I talk about family, right? And if you're a loyal family person, you have to spend time with them, or you feel obligated. You have to work on keeping them along an arm's length distance, because that hurts you. It doesn't hurt them because they're not living a conscious life. And when you're connected in the spiritual life, spirituality is about the commitment to living a conscious life, right? There's the conscious life and there's the unconscious life. Negative people are usually living an unconscious life, meaning they don't always realize that they're negative. So if you say something to them, they have no idea because they're not aware that they're negative a lot of times. I'm not saying always. So with the holiday season, you really have to protect your energy, and ways to protect your energy is meditation. I know earlier today I meditated. Why is meditation important to the spiritual life? Because it helps you stay balanced and grounded. And when you're sensitive and empathic, being grounded is a challenge. To stay grounded, it is a huge challenge. And meditation is a tool to help you stay balanced and grounded. So you really want to, with the holiday season, be gentle with yourself. If you're around amazing, positive people, that's wonderful. But saying, I've seen through my own experiences and people that book appointments with me, have attended. Hi, Judy. Thanks for signing on. I know, I'm sorry. I didn't call you. Thanks for being here. You really helped, too. You really helped with the live last week that I was able to release the live, right? So also saying, if anybody's on here, Merry Christmas. Aris, Merry Christmas, Judy. Merry Christmas Eve. Aris, could you tell me what part of the world you are tuning in from? Just so, because I was talking with the time zones. Thank you. Too. So the time zones, with knowing that, saying my live from last week is also available. So too, at some point, all of you that are tuning in, if you didn't catch last week's live, you can watch it, any time you want. It's, I did release last week's live, so there is content on there. And, I do try to talk about different content every week. And I do want to hear what you're interested in, your interest areas are. So Judy, I was talking about, I didn't know if you got to hear this, right? Tim, I would think you would know about this too. I was talking, Judy, about the Malarca, that Christmas Eve is the only night of the year that you can learn in Italian families how to, with the water and the oil, and you go in the kitchen, and then your grandmother, your aunt, whoever, somebody, right? If they think you've been given the Malarca, they go with the kitchen scissors and with the oil that they poured into the water. They cut that to get the negative energy away from you. And that Christmas Eve is the only night of the year that you can learn how to do the Malarca for someone else. Merry Christmas when it comes. If you're in the USA, I'm in Spain. So Merry Christmas, Maddie. That's saying, okay, let me get that. Right, so in Spain right now, is it 12:49 a.m. or is it 1:49 a.m., right? So I'm on New York time. Yeah, okay, so in Spain, you're either 5 or 6 hours ahead of New York time. So, hola from Spain, Maddie. Yeah, okay, thank you, Judy. Tonight is the only night to learn it. So Judy, you know how to do the Malarca? I know, I never asked you this. You do know how to do the Malarca, Judy? You're able to do that? With that, the whole water and the oil and then cutting with the kitchen scissors and all of that. So yes, as I was saying, Europe, Merry Christmas. Australia, New Zealand, Merry Christmas. United States, Merry Christmas Eve. It's 1:49 a.m. You're Scottish and you're working in Spain. Okay, very interesting. Okay, so you're Scottish too, right? So there's a lot of paranormal ghost stories, Maddie, with Scotland. I know I've been watching some videos, and not that I've been to Spain. I have not been to Scotland. Of course, I mean, Scotland's on the list, but there's a lot of paranormal ghost stories that I've seen with Edinburgh, right? I don't know if I said that right. With Scotland. I've been to Madrid. I've been to northern Spain. I did a study abroad in northern Spain in San Sebastian. Feliz Navidad. Say that in Spanish. I don't know how you say Merry Christmas in Scottish. Yes, but when I have done it, sometimes you would get a headache. You don't do it for others anymore. You feel their negative stuff was entering into your body, so you stop doing it for others. That makes sense. Too bad. I would have liked to have learned it from you tonight, but I'm not close by at the moment. That's why, too, if you hear a noise factor, there are kids downstairs. I am at a Christmas Eve party, but as I said last week, I committed to, having the live, because as I said, my spirit guides had instructed me to have this live tonight. It makes sense, Judy. Me, New York, East Coast, USA. That's where I am live with all of you. I'm on the East Coast, United States. So that's why I do take notes, what part of the world you're tuning in from. So, with Spain, I did study abroad in northern Spain, with the Santiago de Compostela in the north, right, where they do the pilgrimage, Bilbao, Spain, San Sebastian. Wait, that's France or Spain here. It's been years. My favorite museum in the world is the Prado in Madrid. That is not that I love other museums too, to say. Too. Italy's got fantastic museums. We've got a fantastic museum, in Manhattan, to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Greece too, and a lot of archaeology too. I studied archaeology for my PhD related to the psychic priestesses in ancient Greece. You don't have the power to block their bad energy that was coming out of them. So as I said prayers for them, I stopped doing it. It makes sense that too. Thanks for sharing your experience. As I said, it would be something that I would like to learn, and you can only learn it on this night of the year, right? It's the one night of the year. So that's why starting off with the live tonight, because it is, too, especially for the Greek and the Italian cultures. I'm an American Greek. So just to give you, those of you that are international, I am in Greece every year. My parents are from Greece. I grew up in a bilingual home. So where English was not the first language, too. So I do have that, Europe also, connection myself. And I will be in Greece next year. So I will be continuing the lives when I'm in Greece as well. I should definitely do it because you have more experience with energies. I would like to know it because it's something, right, with what I do, to say myself as a psychic medium, an astrologer. I don't do touch, to say it, right? That's saying, Judy knows this because Judy knows me. So with myself, when I have one-on-one appointments or I'm performing a live show, I may hug someone at the end of a show, to give comfort, right? If they're missing, a loved one, and, it's a healing evening, but I don't do touch. And what's good with the Malarka, or again, as we say in Greek, the matiasmeni, the eyes, is it's something that doesn't involve touch. So I would like to learn it, because there would be times I would take someone with the water, the oil, look at how many circles there are, indicating how many people are sending negative energy, and then cut with the scissors. That's what my Aunt Katina would do that with me. My Aunt Katina's been back in spirit for decades now, and the only time I saw her, and this is a really out there experience I had, I was talking to someone, and Judy knows who this person is. I won't say names. This man dabbles in black magic, yet pretends to be a a man of Christ. And I was teaching at a university near Atlantic City, and I decided to get dinner at one of the casinos in Atlantic City, New Jersey, right? You've heard of Atlantic City. I know you've heard of Las Vegas. So, right, Las Vegas is the biggest gambling city that we have in the United States, also called the entertainment capital of the world. And as I said, I performed my live show in Las Vegas last year. So I got dinner, and I didn't, just saying, I didn't have any alcohol. And those of you, I don't drink alcohol or any of that, because I'm going to do a video. Somebody in one of the other social media was asking me, when people drink, can they get influenced by negative entities? So that's another video I plan on filming to post. And so I sat there after dinner, and I started feeling weird. And we're not talking an indigestion of the food. The food was fine. I wasn't feeling weird that way, like my stomach or anything. I was sitting there, and I started like just feeling like it was like an energy drop, but also this like uncontrollable sleepiness. And then like I was like, oh, I gotta go to the car. I should leave. And I get to the car, and I'm like, I don't know if I could drive home. Like I felt like I was drugged. It was really, really weird. And I made it home safe, thank God. And when I got home, so my Aunt Katina, who would do the eyes for me when she was here in a physical body, and it's the only time I've seen her in spirit, I got into my bedroom, and she said, with this man, he did, look, and I don't want to spook you out, but he did black magic on you, because this man goes, works with also the negative too. And saying, I didn't have my protection up. And my Aunt Katina then was in my bedroom, and she said, this man, she goes, he put black magic on you. And then she went like this and lifted that energy out of me, and it was gone. And then she was gone, because she was still doing for me with that, cleaning out the negative energy like she did when she was here. And I'll tell you, that's the last time I saw her. That was the first and last in spirit. But it was really touching, because, as we go on with our lives, like saying, like, yes, when you have people in the daily that you're close to that are now back in spirit, if that's, your reality, you do think of them like probably every day. It depends. I don't know everyone's age on here, saying as well, because when I was younger, I didn't have with, people passing. I had my one friend, Jeff, in my late 20s, and that was from an overdose. But she wasn't someone on the radar I thought of, and, she's not offended by that or put off, but I was really touched that you see even relatives that you don't always think about, they're looking out for us. And to say this at the live show, as Albert Einstein said, and Albert Einstein was psychic. He wasn't a psychic medium. He was psychic. As Albert Einstein said, your experiences are your proof. That's how, when you know something psychic is real, or if you see a ghost, that's how you know it's real. When you see a relative or a loved one or in a dream and it's so vivid and you're like, oh gosh, it feels like they were talking to me. They were talking to you, right? I talked about this last week. They were meeting you on the astral plane while you were sleeping. You floated out of the body and then met them on the astral plane and spent time with them. Albert Einstein said, your experiences are your proof. I can't transfer my proof to you. And I'm saying that in a general overall sense. When you have an experience, I've seen this with people that were open-minded skeptics. Until they had an experience, they thought it was all hooey. They just thought, no, it doesn't, ghosts don't exist. And, this is just tall tales and fantasy and, makes for a great story. That's it. When you have experiences, let's say you have a dream, a psychic dream, and then it happens, that's how you know it's real. Or I meditate. I try to meditate every day. A lot of times when I meditate, I have visions, psychic visions. I meditated earlier today. I had absolutely nothing, but it was a good meditation because it reset me. So, that's why it's important to meditate. If you want to hone your intuition, you want to hone your psychicness, meditation is key. I said this last week. Albert Einstein was a master meditator. He meditated morning and evening. That is how he received all his downloads with his theories, right? That's saying that the psychic is the creative genius. To say, when, you see this with artists, a lot of times they're channeling too, with their art, or with writers too. Some of them channel as they write. That in the psychic genre is referred to as automatic writing. Have you heard of automatic writing and what that is? I'm just putting a little here in the notes. Have you ever tried automatic writing? So what you do is, and I'll just here, right, because I have notebooks, I give it. So here's a notebook, here's a pen. You take the notebook, you could try this on the computer too. Meditation is hard to do. You do meditate every morning, but sometimes you find it difficult because your brain travels elsewhere. But that's, Judy, that's not wrong. That's still meditation too. Even too, there's diverging different opinions about if you fall asleep during meditation, that it's not meditation. One of my professors, Dr. Goodman, who's now back in spirit as well, Dr. Goodman had said, hey, look, if you fall asleep during meditation, that's still meditation. But you have other people in the school of thought of meditation that say, no, that's not meditation. You fell asleep. So you have to decide for yourself. Your brain travels elsewhere. Yeah, it's not that you're not succeeding at the meditation. For me, I have to listen to meditations where somebody's talking, so I can detach from my own thoughts and then just let go and release and surrender and achieve balance and peace. So everyone has a different system with how, and it's something you keep working at, because meditation has a lot of benefits. Let's say before a job interview, or before you need to have a serious conversation with someone, or, if you're writing a paper, I'm just saying, for school or university, or you're about to take a test. Meditation is helpful for balance and grounding, and it also sharpens the mind. But it's something, some people, it takes years to be able to fine-tune meditation. And there's also health benefits to meditation too. It's good for your blood pressure, all of that. Yes, I still do it no matter what. You do feel much better afterwards. Yeah, because when you're an intense person, and especially if your mind runs a mile a minute, it still helps. Do I always meditate before something important? No. Do I always meditate before a live show? The answer is yes. I do, because that's a lot of brain energy during a live performance that I have to produce. But, like today I meditated. Thank you. Enjoy your Christmas too. Start again. Merry Christmas to you as well. And, it's an important tool for the psychic. When people ask me, I talked about this last week, I say to people, you want to know my secret sauce, right? I never trained with anyone as a psychic medium, and even an astrologer. It's all self-taught. I say to people, you want to know my secret sauce? They say, yeah, we want to know your secret sauce. I meditate and I pray. That's my formula. That to say, I'm sharing my formula with all of you. Yeah, it's difficult for you because you have ADHD. And that's why it's even more important to keep working at it, because it is an important tool for ADHD. You just have to be patient with yourself. You know, it can take years with meditation to get a handle on it. You know, it's like when somebody decides, that's not how it works. Did you know I was going to be here tonight? That is a misnomer about psychic abilities. Start again. Too. That we're not omnipotent, we're not all knowing. It's not where my mind goes and my thoughts. That's saying that is a misconception about psychic ability. Right, too. Like if I walk in a room, I'm, you know, trying to read someone's mind. That's not what I'm doing. I'm not interested in guessing the color of somebody's, you know, undergarments or stuff like that, or what sandwich you ate for lunch today, so on and so forth. So just to say, it's a lot more sophisticated than that, too, as well. And that's what's saying, when you talk about Einstein, that's a psychic intellectual. When you talk about Nikola Tesla, it's a psychic intellectual. So here's a little fun little Christmas fact, Judy. Oh, and you get to see the gingerbread cookie, Judy. Too, for those of you in the United States, and if you don't know, well, I'm glad that too. I hope that, you know, you're able with the information to have some takeaways. Okay, so the gingerbread cookie has Abe on it. This, Judy, is from Anne Marie's A Sweet Memory in Waretown, New Jersey. Here's a little fun fact. If you're international, United States, you know of President Abraham Lincoln. Well, I had them on one of the cookies write Abe because President Lincoln's favorite cookie was a gingerbread cookie. So this is an ode to President Lincoln and his favorite cookie. Yeah, Abe is the best. And again, right, that Judy, we've talked about this, that President Lincoln was psychic. He dreamt of his death. He had seances in the White House. I mean, Mary Todd Lincoln, his wife, organized them. President Lincoln did attend seances in the White House. He identified as a spiritualist, too. I mean, he read the Bible, but he also, you know, was a deep thinker and questioned, right? Because one of the tenets of Judaism is to ask questions. So, fun little fact, President Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln's favorite cookie is a gingerbread cookie. There for you all to see, as well. And then the other, because last week, I know Melissa's not on here. I know maybe she's going to get on. But another one I did, so because Melissa was asking me about celebrities, this is for Joan Rivers, the comedian Joan Rivers. If you know who she is, I had them put Joan R. on a cookie. So I made sure, Judy, because Judy, you know, I ordered 20 of these cookies and they're all downstairs for the kids to each have as a Christmas treat. But these two I had specifically, and that second one is an ode to the great comedian Joan Rivers, legend Joan Rivers, as well. Yeah, I think they're fun. They're happy. You know, I do have an extra one at the house. If you're interested, Judy, you or Jean, to have one of them. You do? Yeah, I you know what? I felt her earlier. And oh, let's see, the moon just moved into Pisces. I just got the notification. I felt her earlier, Judy, and I'm not going to talk about for what reason she stopped by, but Judy, you'll get a chuckle out of it because I started off the day being naughty and I moved into being nice just in the morning. But I'll tell you, Judy, offline why she stopped by. Too, that it always helps when she's around. Obviously visiting with her daughter, her grandson as well. But Joan is still moving around as much as she was when she was here in a physical body. I'm glad you can feel her presence. I was hoping too, that she would be around at least, for a little bit of the live, because, you know, all positive support and energies are welcomed during the live. So that was a little fun fact about President Lincoln and gingerbread cookies. So if you want to, you know, connect with him energetically, maybe take a bite into a gingerbread cookie this holiday season. Too. Okay, so that was with the gingerbread. Let's see. So the moon actually right now just moved in Pisces. So what does that mean? I just got the notification like a minute ago. That means to pay attention to your dreams the next couple nights. They could be more vivid, more lucid. You could have psychic dreams the next couple nights. So that's also Christmas Eve. Okay, if you're in Europe, it's Christmas night, the day after Christmas for Europe. But for those of us in the US, Christmas Eve tonight when we go to sleep, Christmas night into the day after Christmas. Pay attention to your dreams, because when there's a Pisces moon, it also heightens the hey Amy. Hi Amy, thanks for being on. Judy knows about Amy. Amy, I don't know if you know about Judy, my friend in town. I know I've talked about Judy, but not. Thanks for signing on, Amy. I just showed, I don't know if you got to see the gingerbread cookie with Abraham Lincoln. I'm just going to show this for Amy because I know she's going to get a kick out of this. I'm going to do this. So Amy, President Lincoln's favorite cookie is a gingerbread cookie. So at the tea house where I picked up all the gingerbread cookies for the party that's downstairs right now, I had them put Abe on one of the cookies as an ode to President Lincoln. And then I also had them put one for Joan Rivers as a little fun, you know, I mean, Anne Marie, the owner, she knows my deal. Obviously, I did my first show at Anne Marie's tea house. So she knows the deal when I make these requests, what's going on with these. But this is just a fun little, you know, aside. And I said, if you want to tap in to President Lincoln's energy, or you want that boost, have yourself a gingerbread cookie this holiday season, because it was his favorite cookie. So I had those. It's a little bit of like show and tell. Gingerbread cookie show and tell, starring Abraham Lincoln and Joan Rivers. So that was a little with that. I talked about the evil eye, how tonight is the night to learn. It's once a year with that. Do I think my dad is downstairs at the party tonight? Dad was around earlier today when I was being naughty, but I can't talk about on the live where I was naughty. And not naughty meaning with a family move I made, but I feel that Dad was behind it, supporting it. It involved making a certain Christmas card disappear, which Dad supported. And made sure that I got to the mailbox today to make that Christmas card disappear as a little, you know, lesson to the person that's Christmas card disappeared. So I did start off the day being naughty, but I committed to spending the rest of the day to being nice. So I had a very naughty morning. I was naughty, and I've moved to being nice. I'm committed to being nice through tomorrow night. Dad, I was talking about Dad. Oh yeah, no, it's spicy. It is spicy what I did. It was a very Scorpio move on my end. I was like, oh, okay. Well, we're just gonna put that Christmas card in the trash, because there was a lot that person deserves it. Whoops, never got the Christmas card. Oh, the post office. Ay, ay, ay. So Dad was fully supportive of it, which was good. And also that's what too, you know, with Joan didn't say anything, but she was really serious. You know, because it's my decision, but I had Dad's support. But I was talking about Dad downstairs when we were having dinner, because, you know, he still has his profile on TikTok, everyone. So he is still plugging along on TikTok. He is communicating with us from the great beyond on TikTok. So that's always nice. We like that they're able to do that too. He's having a good old time with one of his social media profiles. So yeah, I didn't see Dad today. Things have been really kind of hectic with getting all the videos with social media the last month. So on a day-to-day basis, but I did see my dad within the last 5 days I saw him. But yeah, I felt him when as I said, I made a very naughty dad move. I did a dad move with what I did with that Christmas card. It was a very dad move. So that was, I think, Dad was channeling me to do what I did this morning. Too. Yes, I will have to tell both of you offline what that is specifically. It is funny. I know you're going to both laugh too about it. So let's see. So I was talking about automatic writing, right? Saying like, do you know what automatic writing is? So again, automatic writing, you can do it on a computer too, right? So I have here a notebook because I always have a bit of an outline for the live, some points to talk about. You start writing and you allow yourself to channel and see what you're writing, whether, right? And it's I can only speak for myself, but you go into this stream of consciousness where you just get into the flow of spirit and you let the words channel through you. That's a type of automatic writing. The great Irish poet, I don't know if Maddie's still on or, it was getting late for her in Spain. But the great Irish poet, William Butler Yeats, was married to a psychic medium, Georgie Yates, and they would hear a knock on their bedroom wall. Actually, Yates is here to the right. I just saw him. So speaking of seeing, so I have not seen Mr. Yates in a long time. Thank you for stopping by, WB. Why Mr. Yeats is here, the great Irish poet, because he wrote this book of vision. He's to the right of me. So, we got a couple, people I'm seeing here, because also I'm in my niece's room, and her energy there. She's got the saint named after her there. That's the for her saint right there behind me. Do I close my eyes when I do this? I do sometimes. Do you ask to speak to someone and write? That's one way to do it. You can. From what I remember, let's say the last time, I haven't done automatic writing in a long time, but as I commit to getting into a writing schedule with 2026, you are planting a seed to also, also with a specific person to see. So, and also we have a U.S. president here, Andrew Jackson, as well. I want to say it's who's the one on the $20 bill? Is that Jackson or is that Hamilton? If Judy, this is because I just saw the face. So the automatic writing, you can close your eyes and you can see what you write. William Butler Yeats, in here, him and Georgie would be in bed. A lot of times it was around midnight, and they would hear on the wall this, and that was spirit saying, hey, Yeats, get out the pen and paper. Georgie's about to channel, or Georgie would take the paper, and it was automatic writing. They were a team at times, so whether it was Georgie taking the pen and paper or dictating to Yeats, that was one type of automatic writing. And that also, his book of vision, which he wrote, I believe, in a tower. So if you take also, towers are symbolic of impending change, impending sudden change. He was very much engaged in the psychic genre, and also having married a psychic medium. So they participated in automatic writing. I was saying this too with the tea house, those gingerbread cookies that I showed, to when I was in there one of the times and I hadn't been in the back, I said, you know, you got spirit gnomes on the ground. I'm assuming Maddie probably went to bed for the night because gnomes are very prevalent in Scotland. I said, you got spirit gnomes on the grounds. And then Anne-Marie took me out in the back, and they have like a patio for the summer. Oh, thank you, Judy. So it is Andrew. Did I say Andrew Jackson, right? Yeah, I said Andrew Jackson. It was, yeah, it is Andrew Jackson. Is thank you on the $20 bill, because it's like also too remembering the face from the 20. Thank you. I know Tim is saying, you know, I got to start writing, and, you know, get these all into book form, all this, you know, information I discuss during the lives, put it into book form, organize it, give it a structure too, for people, you know, to read, or, you know, they can listen to it audio, or, you know, thank you. I appreciate that. The positive about the book. It is something else I have to commit to in the weekly schedule, is getting back into writing. So I said to Anne-Marie, you have spirit gnomes on the grounds, because I was seeing them inside the tea house too, in the room where I performed my shows, and also my first show ever. Anne-Marie took a chance on me, and I performed my first show there. So I said to her, I said, you have spirit gnomes here in the tea room. And then she took me out back, and she's a patio, and then she's got that white fence, but it's solid white. And the artist painted a gnome on it, you know, saying, because that's what you call a synchronicity. Anne-Marie figured it out. That's saying, I'm telling her there's spirit gnomes on the grounds. The artist painted a gnome on the back fence on the one side. And I said to Anne-Marie, I said, that artist that you paid to paint here in your back patio at the tea house, that's an example of channeling. And that's when I was talking about artists and channeling. She was channeling, spirit was channeling through her. And because there's gnomes, spirit gnomes on the grounds, that when she channeled, spirit instructed her to paint a gnome on the fence, because that's a validation, a recognition of gnomes being on the grounds. So that's just to give you one example. Yeah, I mean, it's cool that they're, you know, and I have to say, my niece's room facilitates the vibration, because she's a positive, happy young woman. I know one time when I was meditating on her bed, I had a vision of her future child too, as well. That was a couple years ago. So also, okay, so the moon moved in Pisces the next couple nights for dreams. Pay attention to your dreams. You may have psychic dreams, vivid dreams, you know, saying this for the United States, Wednesday night, Thursday night. If you're not in the United States, Thursday night, Friday night, pay attention. Are you having vivid dreams? Look, I don't always write down my dreams, so I'm not going to say, make sure you write down your dreams, because the same thing when I taught university. How am I going to have them journal when I don't journal? To me, I couldn't, that I'm going to, you know, so I'm not going to tell you to write it down, but if you can discipline yourself and write down your dreams the next couple nights with that Pisces moon, because it's a very potent energy for dreams. Now we just moved into the Pisces moon. Also this morning with astrology, Venus moved into Capricorn. So Venus in astrology is the romance planet. I posted a video on the channel about Venus and Capricorn earlier today. I like Venus and Capricorn. And, you know, when I talk about astrology, I really try to talk in the positive, because I've said this. I like every sign. I'm not one of those astrologers where I don't like a certain sign. I think there's good and bad people in every sign. There's evolved and unevolved, every sign. So, Venus, the romance planet, moved into Capricorn. So I've been saying this with the lives. Now we have a lot of Earth in the astrology. We have a lot of Capricorn right now. The sun, which is the core nature, is in Capricorn. Venus, the romance planet, just moved into Capricorn this morning. Mars moved into Capricorn this morning. So we now have all this Capricorn energy. And what's good about Capricorn, earth signs are grounding. Like Judy, right? You have a Virgo moon, so that's an earth moon as well. We have all this earth now. We need the grounding. We need to feel grounded. And that's the upside to Capricorn energy, is that stable, consistent, grounded energy. If you know a Capricorn that is not stable, consistent, and grounded, then that is in astrology what we call an afflicted Capricorn. Capricorn people are supposed to be stable, grounded, they're productive, they're ambitious. And I said this in the video, with Venus moving into Capricorn, it's a good time to commit. If you're not in a relationship, or you're dating someone, or you're seeing someone, I think it's in Capricorn through January 17th, I want to say, or it's a good time to commit to your passion, because Venus is also your passions too. If it's not just romance, it's your passions. It's a time to commit to your passion. Commit. Virgo is about commitment. It thrives on commitment. So too, we have a lot now. A lot of the planetary and energy is very Capricorn. Sun, Venus, Mars. So that's going to be the pulse for a good next 3 weeks. I'm not remembering offhand what degree the Mars in Capricorn is, but so that too. I think we need the grounding. We need the earthiness. We need that grounding, right? Because next year, thank you for the hearts, whoever sent them. As we go into the new year, right? Next week is 2026, everyone. It is around the corner. In the context of a reading, you know, if I'm reading anyone, I'm reading them now, it's 2026 and forward. We're into the last days of 2025, you know, the wind down. So, you know, when I'm back on here a week from now, it's going to be, well, it'll be for Europe and Australia, it'll be New Year's Day. For those of us in the United States, it's the last hours of New Year's Eve. Too. So we're getting in. I think it's good to have all the Capricorn to ground in earth, ground in balances. Now I'll say this also though, with Capricorn, you have to watch. Capricorn can get a bit maudlin, stoic, too. Isn't always one of it. It's not one of its, I don't want to say weaknesses, but one of its challenges is not good with dealing with emotions. It's not by nature an emotional sign. A lot of Capricorn people have a hard time expressing their feelings, connecting with their feelings, dealing with their feelings. They can get very detached from their feelings, and then on the emotions level, live an unconscious life. So that you want to not do. With you want to channel the assets of Capricorn traits. You want to access the positive. You don't want to steer away from, you know, because with a lot of Capricorn, it also can be maudlin. So make sure you're watching positive movies, not too much news. I mean, look, I believe you should know what's going on in your local area, you know, parts of the world for sure. You can't know everything, read everything. You would just, you know, like that. But too, you want to really limit to what you're watching, that it's not negative. Like saying, you know, like people that watch the news all the time, how many news stories are positive? Very few, right? The more the focus is on the negative. And yes, you should know these things. But as we get to, right, I mean, we're in the peak of the holiday season. You want to align, what you're watching is positive, what you're listening to is positive. How can you every day do something that's positive for yourself and others? So you really want to limit that consumption level. Everyone has, their outlets too, of what they're watching. So I was given some more recommendations for paranormal sites. I'm seeing in New Jersey, interest in Point Pleasant, New Jersey. I don't think I posted that video on YouTube, but elsewhere it is getting very good traction, Point Pleasant. So I will do more videos, definitely one more with Point Pleasant. Also, I'll talk about here. So I'll go into, so the last week I was filming and I had a very crazy day at Stockton University. It's a university near Atlantic City, New Jersey. So I'm saying this also for the international people listening, so I was filming in the area, which is Absecon, New Jersey, Galloway, because also too, I notice that my most viewed paranormal video on social media is in Absecon, New Jersey. So I said, all right, let me go. And I went to one of the recommendations, which the Sunriser video I believe I posted. That was a recommendation through social media. I was asked to go there, and we're gonna see maybe if we can convince them to allow a paranormal investigation in there. I would say if they do, I'm the person that they would allow the access to. So that is on the radar for next year. But the Sunriser, Judy, I know I sent you the menu. It's a breakfast lunch place, fantastic. Definitely be back. Also the whole, supporting small business. I think it's really important. I try to be conscious as often as possible, right, in regards to my spirituality with supporting small businesses. So small business. Anyway, so I went to go film at the Sunriser. There's a lot of paranormal stories. The present owners have not had any paranormal experiences as to date. So since I was in the area, then the second place I went to was on the recommendation list, a hotel, which I haven't posted that video yet. So when I was looking around, I was like, oh, well, Stockton University is nearby, which is a university I've presented as a lecturer. I've studied ancient Greek there. So I started looking around and I saw there are ghost stories with the Performing Arts Center. Yeah, that's what too. I think Jean's gonna really like it too. It's totally you and Jean's, cup of tea for a place. It's very homey. It's very cozy. That's what I'm saying. Everyone that's listening, that Sunriser video is on my YouTube channel, so you can check it out because it's very interesting. The previous owners, the paranormal experiences that occurred, that actually a local paper in 1999 wrote a news story about the specific examples. So that's what you see with my videos. Sometimes it's my experiences, but also I go to these locations and I talk to people and I create these videos from other people's experiences because it just goes to show you, look, it's not just me. Yes, I function on this frequency on a daily basis. Like I was just, when I was pointing who stopped by in the room. But the point is to show you too, is that you've had an experience, your friend has had an experience, your coworkers had an experience, your tile guy, your security guard, your cleaning woman at the hotel, your bartender, the list goes on and on. So then I went to the motel nearby. That was a recommendation. The hotel, that was a recommendation. And then I said, oh, well, because I've taught at, quite a few universities. I'm a trained academic. I wrote my doctoral dissertation on the psychic priestesses in ancient Greece. So I'm very familiar as, having also attended as a student various universities and also as a professor at various universities in the United States. So I said, okay, let me check out, if we have anybody in Australia, is the Australian say, let me suss it out, which right is check it out, is an Australian term. So I said, all right, let me look about Stockton University. So on their website, the university has ghost stories on it. And I was like, wow, okay, cool. So we're getting to the end of the semester. So it's supposed to be quiet on campus. I thought that's good. It's not the humdrum of the kids, students hustling and bustling to classes. It's the exam period, or exams are done, right? This was Thursday when I was there. And let's see, because today's the 24th, so it was the 18th. Yeah, the campus was really quiet anyway. So the ghost stories are with the Performing Arts Center, where their theaters are, a building I had never been in Stockton, to my recollection. So I filmed the one ghost stories outside, involving theater students, and how, according to their website, there are negative entities in the building, and they've influenced theater students to fight with one another, call each other not good words. And I was like, that's interesting. I said, oh, so all these negative entities. And then I hadn't really researched this. Then I found the final story, which made things go from mild to crazy. Was they have a black box theater in their basement, and there's a black door. I don't know how much Judy talked about this, but I had to put in a phone call to Tim about this, because things got just unbelievable, unthinkable. And I said, well, I want this student that passed from cancer. There's a story that, he would visit in the black box theater, and that his dying wish was to have his ashes painted into the theater walls. So I said, okay, why don't I go find this black box theater and the black door that is dedicated to him. I said, let me do a tribute to this theater student that passed from cancer. I thought, it'd be nice. So I go into the building, and, things start to get weird really quick as I get down to the black box. I wasn't thinking. It was the last video I was filming for the day. So I get downstairs, a black box theater. It happens at the same time. I don't know where, but it was children rehearsing for the Nutcracker performance. And I, when I do research, I had asked one of the employees in the black box, have you had any ghost experiences or anything? And he was weird with me, but not bad. And then they were like, well, it's, the kids are, practicing and all this, like insinuating, I'm a woman of ill repute, you could say. Like, you can't be here, this and that. I was like, okay, can I stay at these stairs here, like 5 up from like where to in the hallway? Like, it was like a little sitting room where the black box theater is. So they're like, okay, 15 minutes. So I'm trying to figure out where this black door is, because it's dedicated to the student that passed from cancer. And then I find a picture on the Stockton website. Well, I asked one of the mothers in the seating area. All I wanted to know is, I show her the picture, and I said, can I ask you something? I said, is that black door in the main little theater? Well, the technical coordinator comes storming out like a lunatic. And it was like like I showed an inappropriate picture. I'm saying, like, of someone not, fully clothed or something nefarious. And he got very aggressive with me. And, you're not allowed to be here. How dare you, anything, ask her. I said, I just wanted to know where this black door is. And, I was like, well, she said it's not in the theater. It's not. So, right, he didn't want to answer. And then I was telling him, I said, well, there's folklore stories. And he looks at me like, yeah, what folklore stories? You know what, dude? On your university website. So, if you were up to speed, you would know this, but obviously you don't. So this made him more irate. And then, I mean, he had, you know what I mean? He was done with me. He disliked me. He had a hostility for me. He got very aggressive. So he was like, well, you have to go to the top of the stairs. You can't go past top of the stairs. So I was like, okay, fine. So I go to the top of the stairs, and then there's a mom manning with a table, and she wasn't balanced either. You know, you can't video the children, this and that. So now, like, I can't think where to film this video as a tribute to the theater student and tell the story about the black door. So then I go into what's a public space. There's a Christmas tree, and I talk with one of the dads, saying, like, you know, I'm a little shook up at the moment. You know, I don't know what to do. Like, this guy, you know what I mean? Like, has it out for me. I didn't do anything. I just asked. You know, I'm just trying to figure out where to do this video. And I understand, you know, kids and all that. Well, that technical coordinator calls campus police on me because of that. Okay. So now campus, they're like, you know, and I mean, I taught at various universities. I was like, you got to be kidding me. This is nuts, right? How nuts is this? So, so then I see upstairs, he's talking to the mom who was, you know, not balanced either, as well. And I see him like glare at me at first. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm sitting at a table near the Christmas tree, and I'm trying to, like, now I'm shook up, like, get my composure, because I want to film this video as a tribute to the student that passed from cancer, and that his dying wishes were to have his ashes painted into the theater. And they supposedly did this with that black door downstairs. So then the cop is like, if I'm here at the table, the cop is like to the right in the corner, like checking me out. It's, you know, so obvious. So I say to the officer, I said, sir, would you like to speak with me? And then once the cops started talking to me, he realized I wasn't the problem. That technical coordinator runs upstairs and comes to the table in his hands, and he points at me. He goes, I want her out of here. Well, too, right? Did I tell you the story about the negative entities attaching to the theater students? Guess who else they attached to? The technical coordinator, right? Because they did not want me there. Hence, also to influencing him to call campus police. So anyway, the cop sees this and is a little taken aback. I mean, I didn't do anything to be treated that way, but I'm still committed to filming that video. I was like, you know what, darn it, I want to film this video as a tribute to that young man and his story and all of this. So I said to the cop, I was like, why don't you listen to me film the video in front of the Christmas tree? That way you can verify there's no kids, you know, that I'm not doing some, like, I have some, you know, perverted agenda with this video. So anyway, the cop listens, and he was, you know, oh, everything sounds fine in the video. Yeah. And I said to the cop, I said, why didn't he tell me to just go film at the Christmas tree? Because it's public space. Cop had nothing to say. You know why? Because that's what he should have said. He was incredibly unprofessional. It was egregious, the whole experience. I had to produce ID. Another police car came, but after they talked to me, they apologized because the technical coordinator was out of line. And as I said, unprofessional. I was very shook up. The female cop wanted to talk to him. I said, please no, because he seems that he's a retaliatory type of person, and I want peace this Christmas season, too. So, you know, campus police said to me, I hope that, you know, that this won't stop you from returning to campus. It will stop me. I said, I only return if I'm invited as a guest speaker. I will never set foot in that performing arts center again. So what's a gal to do? Trying to figure this out, because it's part of spirituality, talking things out to achieve balance. I call my mentor, and I tell him everything, this whole experience that I shared with you on the live tonight. And he said to me, he said, what were you thinking? a black door. He goes, that was your red flag right there, right? That's saying, so when we talked about it, right, you should never paint a door black. And I talked about this in the other live that, too, because you know what it does? It attracts negative entities. And that theater student where allegedly when some play they performed in the 90s that he was visiting, he's not interested in being around there because of all the negativity. He's moved on as well. And so you never paint a door black because it attracts negative entities. I had never even thought about a black door in this context ever, to say. And you know, we talked about too, like you look at it, airplanes, right? When there's fatalities, what is it? It's a black box, and a black box is an indication of something not good having happened. So, you know, my mentor was like, I can't believe you even stayed to film the videos. I said I would have been out there, you know, out of there so quick. He said, because a negative person wants a spiritual person out of the picture. You know, and he felt very threatened by you. I went there with good intentions, you know, but these are the things too, when you're dealing with irrational people and not balanced, this is what can happen. So, you know, I'm committed to my videos, to say, and I was committed to that tribute, which I did. And that video will be posting, and I will be posting a video about black doors, why you never paint a door black. When I went to go meet the editor, right, if you're with my channel, you can see that the trailer for Haunted Places to Visit, I went to go meet the editor a couple days ago, actually, to pick up the flash drives. And we met at the same place when we had the meeting for him to, you know, get the trailer and the pilot up and running, which he did. It's almost 2 weeks ago he finished it, so it is on my YouTube channel. You can check it out. I'm very satisfied with the trailer and the pilot. This is the third pilot that I've been involved in. This one and the one before, I wrote all the content as well. The first one I was just inserted into a storyline, but this is also all my creation too behind it, not only being the lead in it. Anyway, so I went to meet the editor a couple days ago, and I mean, we've had two very lovely meetings, with fantastic meetings. But then I noticed when we were at this pub, and I looked to the left, and I said to him, I said, the front door, because we both walked in through the back door both times we had meetings. And I said to him, I said to Tom, I said, is that a black door? Like now I'm getting like spooked, because now after the whole kerfuffle with the black door last week, I'm like, can you like verify that that's a black door? I mean, I took a picture of it, because even Tom was like, take a picture, because after that whole, you know, loony skip-a-rooney experience at Stockton, and, you know, we were, you know, even Tom said, he's like, well, we didn't go through that door. No, this was a town pub. This was a town pub, Judy, in Bloomfield, because Tom, you know, that's the location he picked for the meetings. No, Tierney's was fine, too, and everybody was lovely. I had, I don't know if I posted the Tierney's on YouTube yet. I posted it, I think, only so far on one of the social media channels, because today the other social media I focused on posting the Venus and Capricorn video. No, Tierney's was lovely. I have to get that video here on the channel too. The employees were lovely. I had a positive experience. Who I saw when I was at Tierney's, it was positive. And I gave the description to two of the guys that worked there that were outside, and they were like, because I was like, can you piece who this guy is? But that's in that video. I will be releasing that video the latest next week. But they were lovely, everyone at Tierney's. I mean, Town Pub, they were lovely too. It was just the Stockton Performing Arts Center was a nightmare of an experience. Yeah, no, Tierney's was lovely. I just didn't get to film a couple other videos I had wanted to film. The day just kind of evaporated when I was in North Jersey the other day, but they're still on the list. And Judy, I am getting asked. I'm getting asked Parsippany. I'm getting asked Morristown, this Jockey Hollow Park, I think, which is in Morristown too. So I am getting North Jersey requests. It's just always gauging to see the views, because right now North Jersey videos are not getting the traction that from Freehold down to Atlantic City are getting. So that's the other thing. Like, I have a couple Woodbridge videos still to post that day that I told you when I was in Carteret. Yeah, Tierney's, they were lovely too. And that's what then, I met up with Dave and Jose for dinner. And Jose is a director at the university. And we talked about the whole Stockton thing. And that's what's saying too. He said that campus police recorded that the technical coordinator was the aggressor in that incident. But I'm going to tell my story. And I'm going to let people know too. And also, the cautionary tale in that. And also about the black door. I never thought about it. I never thought with the door, paint it black. But I'll tell you, it's a huge mistake. They need to paint it. They need to paint it with color, because it is a factor into the negativity. Oh, Jockey Hollow, you do know Jockey Hollow, because one of the young women in my other social media, she was like, please, 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 Parsippany, just at the Jockey Hollow Park. I have them on the list in the notebook. Good ghost story at Jump Jenny location. Where is Jump Jenny? Is Jump Jenny near Jockey Hollow Park? I'm taking a little bit of notes on that. Jump Jenny. I don't know what Jump Jenny is, Judy. And right now, we used to go there. Oh, it is part of Jockey Hollow? Okay, yeah. So, with parks, you hear a lot of times the stories, the swings will swing on their own, and there's no kid or no one recently in the swing. I filmed with Eric earlier this year, Esplanade Park in Florida. That has a lot of stories. I'm not remembering exactly all the details because we filmed that in the spring. But yeah, parks are another paranormal hotspot for sure, too. I haven't filmed, well, California, LA, I believe Griffith Park, and we talked about the carousel. But I haven't done that many parks. I'm definitely open to more. Okay, yeah, I definitely want to hear about the ghost story with Jump Jenny too. I am very interested. I just have to figure out, obviously, to say when I film these videos, I try to, if I'm in the area, also film. Just like this week, Friday, I'm planning to film at least one video in Freehold. Freehold has gotten a lot of traction. I see, and it's a sad story about a young girl. Well, I'd like to do a tribute to her then. That's I mean, when I go to these, the student with cancer, it was a tribute to him. That's why when, the police officer listened, he heard, I just came here to do a tribute to the young man. I came here with good intentions. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I'll have to hear the story. Maybe I can, with the video also, do a tribute to her. A lot of times they are sad stories, because I'm getting asked a lot, Judy, too, with Lakewood. They keep when are you going back to Lakewood? When are you filming more videos? And we talked about the driving in Lakewood. At times that's a deterrent. I try, if I'm doing something in Brick, then if I can go to film in Lakewood, but it's what time of the day is it? Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna subject myself to driving through Lakewood at 3 p.m. You know what? I'll come back. I'll have to figure out. I mean, I still have to go back to that historical museum and talk about my experience aside from what the electrician saw, which I did that video on the Lakewood Historical Museum. It is sad that, they've been asking me too. There was even recently in the comments on the other social media, they were like, please go to the lake and the 3 young girls that drowned in it, and what do you get? And all this. So Lakewood's on the list. I love having a list because saying with Sunriser was a recommendation. And also I have to go back. I don't know if I was saying that to if you were on when I was talking that too, to see if they'll let us do a paranormal investigation as well. So I do have to go back there. I think they're going to say yes. I think I'm the only person that they would say yes to with bringing a team, but we're going to try to also make that happen because what I was telling the owner and the owner's son, who co-owns it with his dad, I was telling him, I said, I think when the previous owners, I think it's Mr. Endicott who took great pride in the building, running a business. I said, I think it's Mr. Endicott protecting the grounds, not this sea captain that the spiritualist said. Not that I don't think the sea captain is around on the grounds, but it makes sense. Mr. Endicott, took great pride in maintaining the building and ran a business there. Jenny jumped off a mountain top as urged by his father to escape enemies. So wait, is Jenny a man? Because when I'm, seeing the name Jenny, I'm thinking female because Jenny. Okay, her father. Enemies. Was this during was this with because a lot of too with the videos I'm doing, Battle of Monmouth, to, what was the other one? I'm trying to think because I was at the Tennant Cemetery in Manalapan, and that was a recommendation too. As well. We also, too, I'll say this a couple times, Marilyn Monroe has stopped by as well. Marilyn was big into psychics when she was here. I've had visits before. Marilyn sat in on some of my readings. Marilyn's a pink lover. I'm a pink lover. So I just, at first I was like, this is the second time I'm seeing Marilyn too. So Marilyn's stopping by because, Marilyn loves intellectual stimulation too, as well. So I just want to acknowledge and also thank everyone that has stopped by for the live this evening. Yeah, there are some messages that I'm seeing are getting held for review. I am not opening them because I'm assuming they're not positive, and that is not the vibration that we are engaging in here. So I'm not sure. Unless, Judy, if you're seeing something on the screen that you're typing and you're not seeing, you can also let me know so I have an idea, because I'm assuming there's a reason why they're getting held for review too. So yeah, it is a sad story. Okay, you don't see. Okay, so then it's somebody else, and I'm assuming it's not positive. And I'm thinking Amy must be off because it's she's on the West Coast. I'm trying to think what today too, what her evening she's up to, but I'm not placing at the moment. So I'm assuming it's not Amy either. As well. And if it is, I'm sure I'll catch up with her in a message then to find that out. So I'll say this, whoever's messages are getting flagged, think about what you're saying, because I am not flagging them, so I'm not able to see them, and I'm choosing not then to see them. So, yeah, I think too, Judy, I'm going to wrap it. Judy, thanks for being on here because, again, you helped, make this a fantastic live. Yeah, Judy, too, I'll text you, or I don't know tomorrow if to call you or the day after, but thanks for being here. I was, I knew with Christmas Eve, I didn't want to be like, are you gonna, with the live, but I'm really happy you decided to pop on. Good night, Judy. I hope you get a restful sleep. I'll text you tomorrow. Merry Christmas Eve. I'll say Merry Christmas now, and I'll text you tomorrow. So good night. Get some rest. I hope you have a restful sleep. So to say, I'm gonna start winding down the live. Thank you, Judy. I appreciate the support. It really means a lot too, and I'm always open with suggestions. As you know, I listen to your feedback too. So I am grateful for you too. So next week, I plan to be on the same time. It's New Year's Eve. And as I said this in a previous live, my guides had said no to commit to the lives like I did tonight. And also with New Year's Eve, it'll be the same time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Subscribe to my channel. I'm always posting videos. I'm open to hearing content you're interested in for me to create videos too. So I will be back on here New Year's Eve, United States time, New Year's Day, Europe, Australia. So depending what part of the world you're in, either on New Year's Eve will be the next live or on New Year's Day. I wish you all a very happy holiday, a Merry, Merry Christmas. May you have, positive interactions with your loved ones, feel loved, give love, receive love, positive conversations, feel good after the people you're spending time with, and connecting to spirit. And remember that spirit lives on in you. Good night for now. See you on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day next week.